Guys, they've done it.
Breaking news, lads. Thunderbolts was good.
It was a W.
It was a good movie. Bro, I haven't felt like this in years for a Marvel movie.
Honestly, I haven't been excited for what's next with Marvel
Until this very moment.
since like Endgame, I think.
Literally. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Thomas.
I'm Merlin.
Together we're the Comic Lads, and today we're talking all about Thunderbolts.
I've had a spidey sense with this movie.
Yeah,
you
I
can attest to this.
I can. Merlin's been like, dude, I swear it's gonna be good. I was like, there's no way.
And no one, like no MCU fans have been as spurned as us in recent years.
That is true.
We always have to preface these videos saying we're fucking day one MCUers.
Day one. I'm speechless right now.
Guys, before we get into it, question of the week. Have you seen Thunderbolts or are you going to go see it? Let us know down below.
If you're on the fence, go see it.
They need to know that projects like this can make it.
Are what we
Like,
want.
Exactly.
Yes.
I know. Before we get into our full deep dive, don't forget to like the video. It means the world to us. It really helps us out.
Subscribe if you haven't already. Become one with the Thunder Lads.
Thunder Lads.
Sucks.
Oh my god.
None of these are
Hit the notification bell. Don't miss out on any future videos. Let's get into this.
If you guys couldn't tell already, we loved this movie. We want you to go see it, and go see it if you haven't before you continue this video, because we just got to get into spoilers. We just got to get into it.
Yeah, some people would do like 2 separate reviews. We're just gonna jump right into it.
Where do we begin?
This movie is everything the Suicide Squad movie should have been. A ragtag team of anti-heroes.
Yeah.
Some characters that people might even consider villains.
Or lame,
Brought together, work through their issues and their trauma.
and become friends. Boys, dare I say.
I know. It felt like I was watching the Avengers back in the day.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Seeing like RDJ still trying to come back from his disastrous legacy as like the weapons maker of Stark Industries.
Yes. Steve Rogers trying to prove that he's not just like a Boy Scout.
And seeing these characters come together on screen and just kick some ass, it's what the MCU has needed.
You know what the MCU has needed, Merle, is a movie made by people.
Yeah, that took itself seriously.
And not like a studio and executives and like focus groups.
Jake Schreier, I was a huge fan of when he did Beef. He did a few of the episodes on Netflix.
Yeah.
Great miniseries with Stephen Yeun. And
cooked.
He cooked. And that's why, like, leading up to this, I had some semblance of hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And it paid off so well. All these actors had such incredible chemistry with each other, man. They were so fun. And this is the first time also in a long time that I have had genuine laughs at a Marvel movie and not just like groans.
Yeah, it wasn't like the, oh, he's right behind me type of humor, you know? They weren't like the formulaic Marvel slop that we've been getting.
They're not even slop, they were slop.
Literally. There is one character. Listen, this movie isn't perfect. There's one character that whenever she had a line, we would look at each other in the theater and kind of roll our eyes like, same old Marvel somehow is still here.
Yeah, and look, we're not trying to like rag on an actor, but Valentina's assistant character, Mel, was just like a Gen Z grown fest. It was so like all the lines they fed her were so cringe, and it was just like,
Yeah, there was this one line where Valentina was like, are there any loose ends? Like, tie them up. And she's like, well, we did, but now the rope is on fire or something. I'm like, oh my god. Like, I wanted to make a fart sound effect in the theater when I heard that. I was like, Jesus.
But aside from that, the entire cast was stellar.
Yeah, and the writing was great.
Yes, it was. Florence Pugh stole the whole show.
She is incredible. Completely sold me as like the next Black Widow.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can she just start calling herself Black Widow, please?
It's crazy to me that like we're this far into the multiverse saga,
Yeah.
like just a couple films away from it ending.
Yeah.
And we're only now setting up these type of characters.
I know, but you know what? It might be just on time.
Because big spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, it's revealed that this team is not called the Thunderbolts.
They're actually the new Avengers, and I was like, what?
Yeah, in the theater, you said out loud, like, no, this doesn't happen. This is a joke.
There's
right?
no way.
But then once it kind of settles in, you're like, wait, I could kind of fuck with it.
yes, I could kind of fuck with it.
So the plot centers around Valentina. She's been hiring all of these anti-heroes and kind of fallen from grace characters like John Walker, who's supposed to be the next Captain America.
Yeah, except he, murdered someone on camera, so he's not.
Yeah. She's been promising them in exchange for doing covert operations.
Like a clean slate, basically.
A clean slate, or like...
From like The Dark Knight Rises. Clean slate.
Clean slate. She's been promising them something in one form or another in exchange for these services, and she's under fire. She's getting sued.
No, she's getting impeached.
Yeah, she's getting impeached by the government. She basically needs to destroy all of this evidence of wrongdoings.
And our focus character from the beginning is Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova. She's kind of at the end of her rope when we start this movie.
Yeah, I mean, she's depressed.
Yeah, fully stuck in depression. She is alone. She doesn't know what to do. She doesn't want to keep going on these like shitty government like spec ops cleanup missions and just kill people for no reason.
Yeah, she wants more meaning in her life.
Yes. Yeah.
Straight off the bat, when you see her in the opening scene and she's standing at the top of the building and just leaps off completely unfazed.
This isn't someone being cool. This is like really concerning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's some emotional damage going on behind the scenes here.
Yes. And we find out that not just Yelena, but all of our main stars in the Thunderbolts are kind of going through similar issues.
Yeah, John Walker's been rejected by his family.
Yeah,
and
rejected and he left him.
Well, they have. I mean, we do get a flashback sequence where he's kind of like a piece of
he's a shithead
toward his wife and child.
Yeah.
But anyway, Valentina ends up setting up all of these characters to take each other out, to clean house, clean evidence, because like we said, she's being impeached and she needs to destroy all of this.
Yeah, and she sends them all separately on a ruse to like go and clean up this last little area for her. What she's actually doing is sending them all to kill each other so she can blow them up and literally clean slate herself.
We talked a little bit about the chemistry between the cast, but immediately when you see them all in a scene together and they're like physically trying to overpower one another,
I'm like, you guys are all friends, come on.
No, I know. I was like, already the seeds were being planted of I can get behind these characters working together. You know what I mean? Because they eventually realize what's actually happening and they're like, whoa, hold on a second. Like, we're clearly being set up here.
Unfortunately, they realize it a little too late for a certain character, and that's Olga Kurilenko's Taskmaster, who gets fucking domed. Why did you guys even make Taskmaster if you're gonna do this?
In a way, I'm kind of happy about it because I had such a bad taste in my mouth from Black Widow after I thought it was just such a disservice to the character that we'd been waiting all those years to have a solo project.
Agreed.
And the Taskmaster, I don't want to say plot twist because it was kind of coming at you a mile away.
Yeah.
But the plot twist
was super weak sauce.
Was whack.
It was weak. It was weak sauce.
It was weak sauce. And so I feel like even Marvel recognized that.
Yeah.
And I think they also wanted something to, in the moment, show you that this movie was a little bit different.
Yes.
And so it was like two birds, one stone. Get her out of here and set up the tone for the rest of the movie.
So disrespectful still.
It's disrespectful to the character of Taskmaster from the comics, who is like such a badass.
One of the most cracked ever.
Yeah.
Moving on, though.
Moving on, we also get introduced in the scene to Robert Reynolds.
Bob, played by Lewis Pullman. What a fucking cast, man.
What a cast.
Holy shit. He stole the whole show.
Him and Florence Pugh, everyone was doing a phenomenal job.
No, they were the 1-2 punch of this movie.
They were the 1-2 punch.
I didn't think they could pull Sentry off, and they fucking did.
I gotta be honest, Sentry, I'm lacking in terms of comic knowledge for him. I know he's kind of considered the Superman type character.
One of them.
Of Marvel, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just so surprised what they did with him and how they showcase really deep, sensitive topics like depression and drug abuse.
And abuse in general.
It is revealed at a certain point throughout this movie that Valentina had been working on the Sentry project to kind of Homelander.
Yeah, she's trying to make her own superhero to give her, political power and kind of make her seem like the new Nick Fury, I guess I would say, of the MCU.
Yeah, and she was taking people down their luck, that are signing up for these quote-unquote medical experiments, ending up just getting shoved out by the government and thrown away like waste when they, the trials don't work.
Well, they all died.
Yeah, except for Bob.
And thank God for Bob.
Almighty Bob. It's so good.
Killed it, man.
He's kind of like a lost child.
He's someone that needed a hug and just like always got a slap.
And you even get to see like one of his powers, while he is really powerful like Superman or like Homelander or whatever.
The first power that we discover is that when he touches Florence Pugh, he kind of walks into like one of her deepest, darkest memories.
And pulls her into it at the same time.
Yeah.
He can do that with anyone.
Yeah.
There's, like we mentioned earlier, there's a great moment with John Walker where he touches him and you see him reflecting in a flashback of how he mistreated his wife and child.
Yeah, and you're like, that was probably the breaking point in his marriage, you know, that memory that we got pulled to.
Yeah, and so it's such an interesting power set that lets you visually deep dive into the trauma that the characters have instead of just like showing it in a generic like black and white flashback sequence like other movies would do.
Sure, yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Because you get to see them actually confront it. And there's this one moment throughout the movie where Florence Pugh is trapped in this memory. It was her first test in the Red Room,
Where she had to kind of
lead a classmate to her death.
lead a lamb to slaughter, literally,
Yeah.
in one of her friends. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and you get to see her fight the memory, quite literally. She's like, no, please stop this.
Yeah.
Don't do this. And speaking of like dealing with these themes, this is something that is completely new for the MCU. Like, yes, we've dealt with alcoholism in subtle ways with like RDJ and Iron Man.
Yeah,
You know, in
kinda.
in kind of subtle ways. But this was like very on the nose,
In your face.
and I loved it though.
Me too. It was brutal to watch. And speaking of, you know, showing real issues, the tortured and kind of like shattered but taped back together relationship between Yelena and her father, Alexei, the Red Guardian, played by David Harbour, broke me in half.
Perfectly illustrates two people that love each other,
Yeah.
but don't know the right ways to show it.
Yeah.
And the climax of the movie, Yelena confronts him and is like, you know, where have you been?
Yeah.
It's been like a year. I haven't seen you. You don't call. You don't text. Nothing.
I lost my sister, and then I lost you. Like, where have you been? And he says, I'm late, but I'm here now. And you're like,
Yeah. And it's also clear that, like, Red Guardian's having a bit of, like, a midlife crisis.
Absolutely.
And it's not outright stated, but you know there's a part of him that the reason why he didn't reach out is because he was ashamed of what he was.
yeah, he thinks he's pathetic. And he doesn't realize that his daughter doesn't see that. All she sees is, like, her dad that's not there.
Imagine having well-written characters.
I
I'm
know.
like, people are gonna say, like, we're blowing this out of proportion, but I think I've just been denied stories like this from the MCU for so many years now.
No, I'm not gonna, like, no one can tell me that this movie wasn't fucking awesome.
You know what else is awesome?
Bucky?
We can get into Bucky, but I was gonna say the action, bro.
Oh my god. Well, that's a perfect time to talk about Bucky because he was fucking cracked.
He was like such a badass. We've seen the scene in the trailer, but when they're like riding away in the desert and Bucky catches up to them, the trailer doesn't do it justice.
It doesn't. It's fucking sick.
I felt like Darth Vader was showing up or something. I'm like, oh shit, he's like, let's go.
I don't know, it just felt like a lot of the action was just practical and fucking cool and real.
It was, dude. They actually shot on sets. Can you believe it?
Can you imagine shooting on a set and not like CGing like a classroom?
I know.
Or like
can
an
you imagine like actually shooting on like the streets of New York?
Yeah.
And having actual buildings in the background instead of green screen? Like, come on, man. This is what the MCU should have been post Endgame.
Absolutely.
And it's proof also, like, there's some arguments like, oh, no one wanted She-Hulk in the first place, no one wanted this, no one wanted that. And it's like, no.
You can take anybody
Exactly.
and make it good.
Like, we were talking on the way home, how the fuck did they redeem Ghost?
I know. She was sick. She went from like, it hurts, to like a fucking awesome, strong, funny, emotional character.
Like, just badass.
Yes.
Like, everyone was just badass in this movie.
They were.
U.S. agent, he kicked so much ass, and like, I got my super soldier fix. I got it.
No.
I didn't get it from Sam Wilson, but I got it from John Walker.
No, like the fucking what was done to Captain America: Brave New World has to be studied.
I just feel like I've been blessed.
Me too.
Like, Papa Feige, give me another one, please.
He's not Papa Feige yet. I'm not calling him Dad. I'm calling him Kevin.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm thinking of like that one line where they're all talking about their trauma and like what they've been through, and Bucky's just like, well, my past has been really good, so I'm fine. Should we just get into like talking about the Void? Because oh my god, they cooked.
Visually, the effects artists, like, wow.
They nailed it, and it's so simple, and you can very easily write it off as like, oh, they didn't even do anything, he's just like a silhouette. But like, yeah, he's a silhouette, and all you see are the highlights of his eyes, and it's horrifying.
I like Louis Pullman's performance here because he doesn't just play one character. It's almost like he has split personality disorder.
It's almost like he does have split personality disorder, and it's almost like he plays 3 characters. Because he plays Bob, who's vulnerable, that we all fell in love with in the movie. He plays the Void, who is just like this manifestation of all the darkness and trauma in his life and in his soul. And he also plays the Sentry.
Homelander, basically. And I like also on that same subject, the fact that we don't just dive into these characters' traumas, you also get to see his. At one point you see a flashback of him as a kid, and his father's like beating up his mom or like verbally abusing her. And he stands up to him, and then his mom turns on him and is like, you always make things worse.
She's like, don't step in, you'll just make it worse. And make everything worse.
And it perfectly illustrates how that trauma leads up until today, because
he believes that about himself.
Yes, it pits him against himself, because when he tries to fight his depression off, that is what negative feeling.
That's what it wants.
Exactly.
And you see that the Void starts encroaching upon him, and he starts like turning into the shadow of himself.
Yeah.
Speaking of shadows, there's a moment the Thunderbolts finally have coalesced as a team, and they're trying to save civilians in the wake of getting their asses handed to them by Sentry. And Red Guardian gets his moment. He saves this little girl, and she just turns into a fucking shadow. And my jaw hit the floor.
It was kind of a jump scare in theater. Like, people audibly went like, but yeah.
It was fucked.
Yeah, because it was a super heartwarming moment. Red Guardian is finally getting to be the hero he's always wanted to be. And then just
beautiful.
And in the climax of the movie, you get to see Bob versus the Void, basically.
Yeah. So what happens is, like, he makes this huge kind of, like, shadow wave that starts encroaching upon the whole city of New York. And Yelena kind of just walks into it.
She knows that when Bob uses his power, like he's done with her up until this point, it just traps you in your worst memory and your trauma. And so she embraces that. I mean, it's a little on the nose in terms of, like, the theme of the movie, which is, like, you are who you are and you need to love and accept yourself.
But, like, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and that people around you can help you in that and hold the burden. And quite literally, as he is beating the physical manifestation of all of his trauma, all the Thunderbolts huddle around him and hold him back.
And pull him off.
Yeah.
And save the day. Like fucking heroes. And, you know, I was thinking before this movie came out, I was like, how are they gonna beat the Sentry? You know, he's like Superman and they're like nobodies. And are they just gonna have another, like, Sam Wilson with Red Hulk, like, power of friendship moment to save the day? But they did.
In one sequence, they actually do fight him as Sentry.
And they get dry cleaned.
They get their asses whooped.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He ripped off Bucky's arm and hit him with it.
I thought he was going to explode his arm at one point.
Me too. I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
I'm sick of, like, his arm just getting completely just demolished. And, you know, by the end of the movie, we've saved Bob. We've seen our main heroes actually become heroes. They solidified themselves as heroes, saving civilians, helping them, and they bring everyone back, and they see Val, and, you know, they're all about to, like, beat the fuck out of her or / arrest her, which Bucky wants to do, and they follow her through this curtain as she's trying to get away from them right into a press conference, and Val spins this as her own idea.
Yeah, to avoid impeachment.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is what I've been working on behind the scenes.
Behold, everyone, here are your new Avengers.
And Florence Pugh leans into her and she's like, well, you can do that, but we now own you, which I love.
And she looks terrified.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, because she sucks.
But then we cut to the title and Thunderbolts is there, and then a page is ripped and it's revealed New Avengers underneath.
This movie has, like, balls of steel.
It does. But then we get a time jump.
In the post-credit.
Yeah, 14 months in the future. They have been the New Avengers for the last year.
They've occupied Avengers Tower. It's their base.
They all got new fits too, and some of them are so sick.
Bucky's new fit is sick, even though his wig is crazy.
God, it's so bad.
Yeah.
Bob is actually on the team.
But as Bob, you know, he like doesn't want to become the Sentry, which I'm like, yeah, sure, bro.
And-
you're gonna be the Sentry.
And I feel like he's gonna kind of be the team's ace in the hole, kind of like how Hulk was. You know, like code green. Like they have like a code Bob or something. Code Bob.
I just want to talk about quickly, we get kind of an update for the character of Sam Wilson, which I really don't like.
Yeah, because at the end of Brave New World, his new mission is to create a new Avengers team.
Yeah, and we find out in this 14-month time jump that he is like trying to copyright claim the new Avengers and like...
Yeah, he's trying to sue like the Thunderbolts new Avengers
I'm like,
team.
that's so... Is that really what you're doing as Captain America? That's so fucking lame.
Sam Wilson, first of all, he's boys with Bucky.
Yeah.
Like, they are boys now. We've seen it in Brave New World.
Yeah, but then we see that, like, they're like, did you talk to Sam? And they're like, how did your talk with Sam go? And Bucky's like, poorly.
Yeah, he's not budging. And it's like, dude... But also, secondly, the Avengers, they're not perfect people as much as the public thinks they are.
No.
You know what I mean? These are broken fucking people. Like Mark Ruffalo says in the first Avengers, they're a time bomb. They're a ticking time bomb,
Yeah.
you know, before they all unify. I feel like Sam Wilson would have just reached out to them and been like, yo, I'm making a new Avengers team. Do you want to join?
Yeah, I just don't buy it.
And I was honestly really expecting Sam Wilson to appear in the post-credit scene.
Me too.
And be like,
I have an idea.
There was an idea.
There's a new idea.
And get them all together in time for Doomsday.
Yeah.
But now it's like we're going into Doomsday with like fucking copyright claim, like Avengers teams suing each other.
Yeah, and like
what?
stupid like fake beef out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That little tidbit about Sam is honestly like, it might be my biggest gripe with the movie. The actual fucking thing that we get from the post-cred is that there's an alert that there's like something heading into orbit from like deep space. And they say there's a dimensional rift. And they pull it up on the screen and it's the Fantastic Four's rocket. I giggled.
I'm actually surprised they showed that because that kind of confirms in one way or another how Fantastic Four First Steps is going to end.
Yeah, like
I'm kind of conflicted about it.
their universe is cooked.
This is the first time we've left a theater and I'm like, what is this feeling I have deep inside?
I didn't recognize it at first. It was almost a new feeling.
Is this excitement I'm feeling?
Yeah.
For Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
It moves the needle forward in terms of the storyline and what we've been building toward.
Yeah, this feels like more of a mainline essential watch than Captain America did.
It gives me the same feeling that the Infinity Saga gave, where at the end of each movie, you were looking forward to the next one.
I can't believe it. I can't believe we're here.
I don't like when we have to report on things that we don't like.
No, I hate it. It sucks.
Yeah. It hurt me every time we talk badly about the MCU because I think we can both attest it means so much to us.
It does. It's such a huge part of who we are just as like people.
And it in some ways cultivated our love for these characters.
For sure.
Like most people around the world.
I wasn't an Iron Man fan before Iron Man 1. Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
You know?
And now I'm like, wait, US agent sick.
Wait, when can I get more ghosts? Like,
I know, I didn't think I'd be saying this.
Me neither.
Guys, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe for more Comic Lads, coming at you with some really great videos next week. Turn on notifications to not miss out, and we love you.
We love you so much. Peace.
Peace. Peace.